Vesna, I would like to ask you, in the meaning of all this conference, talking about feminism today, about what we are talking today when we say feminism, what bases are from where we can start to rethink feminism for theory and also for practice, feminist practice as well as also theory. What paradigms are coming, can we include, and what are some references for today's feminism?
I think that today more than ever it is very clear that it is not a one and unique feminism, that we are facing a variety of very different feminisms, which could be somehow also defined through the political power somehow. I know that there is quite a strong stream which could be called a liberal feminism, which feeds into all this EU stuff on equal opportunities and so on, which actually turns basic human rights into, they reduce basic human rights to the technologies. In one way, the equal opportunity is a reduction of rights, or maybe better, it is how to refocus the power from having a right to having the opportunity. So I think that the equal opportunities is more a way how to ensure just part of what is concerned as a right. In a way, it is a negation of right also, because it focuses mainly on the main. Oh, it's so difficult to speak in English after having all this Croatian and Serbian conversation. So it is when we are speaking about the opportunities, it means that it does not challenge the social structure. This is what I wanted to say. So yeah, those policies do not challenge social structure. They just say social structure is okay, but there have to be ways how to include those who are excluded, those women that are excluded through the policy of the equal opportunity. But we know that actually it is the basic cause of inequalities and problems and so on is based in social structure, not just having the opportunities. So I think that this is one feminism and one way of thinking, even though the liberal feminists also emphasize strongly the freedom, and this is also freedom of choice. But on the other hand, I also think that quite strong, or even stronger today, is a leftist movement, or the leftist feminism. Because if we look all over the world, we can see that feminists are raising very important questions about what is the function, how today's world is functioning, and how it produces inequalities, and how it produces, in one hand, richness, and on the other hand, poverty, especially the poverty of women. So to answer further, I think that today's feminism main role is actually to challenge the inequalities. Because in one hand, I think we are coming back to the practices of the 19th century in the way that people are treated as workers in the pre-industrial societies, or the societies at the beginning of industrialization. In a way they don't have even the labor rights are reducing, social rights are reducing, and so on. People more and more depend on market, their survival depends on market, how they can sell themselves on the market with all these precarious types of works and so on. So I think that the life courses of people are becoming very precarious, especially the life courses of women. For me, this is the basic kind of a basic issue or the basic question how the feminism will challenge the inequalities.
And if we go from that point and finish also, what is about theory and practice? There's some time we're talking about this connection between theory and practice. Also in feminism, it's also sometimes a problem, and sometimes it can be a great meeting each other.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion about theory and practice? In general, but also in feminism, in feminist discourses?
My general opinion is that this is not a dichotomy. The theory and practice is never a dichotomy. Even though we can sometimes say that theory is slightly behind the practice, because if a problem arises and the social movements respond to this problem, it is the immediate response. I mean, there is a problem and there is a movement and there is the action. And then there are theories which reflect on that. So in this sense, I think that theory is slightly behind the practice, but it is not necessary, because also how the practice starts, how the movement starts, the action and so on, it rely on the theory, on some of the theoretical concepts, and or those people that I consider myself also as an activist and a theorist. And I think that I inform myself from both sides. So I can start an action if I'm aware of the injustice or a problem and so on. But being aware of the problem also means to have the information and to have a knowledge and so on. So I think that in this sense it is the intertwined process. I don't see it as a conflict, even though it can be a problem in the circumstances if the theorists are putting themselves in a higher place or in the higher point of the hierarchy than the activists. There could be, but this is not anymore a question of a theory and praxis, but the question of the attitude, of a respect, of a hierarchy, of a power, and so on. Yes.
This is that. And you see in that line of theory and practice, you see art inside. And what's your opinion about art practice and also maybe art theory, but especially art as a field, which is, if those two goes parallel, it's one more parallel with that.
I think that art is absolutely essential for feminism. I can also see it in recent years when I visit the feminist conferences, that quite a lot of theorists are using, which are not connected to art otherwise, but they are using artifacts to explain the theory. For example, I have listened 2 years ago to Sarah Ahmed, which is from Great Britain, and she used to explain her theory. She used the collages, some of the artistic artifacts, and this was quite, for me, it was a new combination of a theory and art. But at the same time, it told me that actually the art is a creativity and it is a way of the expression and so on. What we feminists are doing all the time, we have to invent new fields and new spaces and transcend from what is happening to what we think it would be better and so on. So I think in this way the art and the feminism are essentially connected. Yeah. It is also, maybe just to add to that, it is also vice versa, how actually the artists are using the research result or the new thinking and so on in their artistic practices. For example, what we have seen here, the Living Archive, it is the a way how to use the research facts for performance and the what we can also call engaged art.